Utomwen the will of justice regarding the brutality visited on him by the Nigerian police and the New Generation Bank may grind slowly, but redress is sure for him. The Court of Appeal has dismissed the appeal by the police and the bank against the 2012 judgment of Justice Peter Kekemeke of the FCT High Court, which found them guilty of violating the rights of Utomwen and slammed 100 million naira damages against them. In a judgment delivered by Justice Godswill Amadi, the Appellate Court affirmed that the verdicts of the lower courts but reduced the compensation from 100 million naira to 20 million naira. Utomwen, a former staff of the news magazine, had dragged the bank and the police to court over his molestation and detention at a branch of Garki 3, Area 3, Garki, Abuja, on the 11th of December 2009. This is not just a victory for justice, but also journalism. Julie, can you tell us about this?
Yes.
This case.
Utomwen was a reporter, was one of my reporters back then at the news magazine. And he was one of the aggressive ones because of his age. He was young, you know, and energetic. So on that particular day, in the discharge of his duties, he was violently attacked, beaten up, you know. And sometimes these guys, even when you show an ID card that you are a journalist, just doing your job, they will not even look at your ID card. They will continue the beating. You see, the excesses of our security operatives need to be checked. Look at the case of somebody who introduced himself as one of the aides of one of our governors, and the guy slapped him and warned him that, who are you? That just like that, he just slapped him. And that's a customs person, oh.
Honestly.
Customs. Not even police, oh.
Just slapped him.
Customs.
The guy was very patient.
And he just slapped him just like that. So it just, I'm happy because I know for how long this boy struggled to get justice in this matter. 2009. He kept being dragged in, but I know that ultimately, justice will not be denied. So I'm happy to hear that invariably a secure justice. This at least should serve as a deterrent to other banks who would let loose their security men on innocent journalists doing their job.
Now, this is a case of human rights abuse, and we see this, we witness this on a daily basis, where somebody in gun can just feel that because you're a civilian, he can just descend on you and, you know, take advantage of you.
Yeah, I think beyond just this, I'm happy about the verdict, you know, that the appeal court upheld the verdict. But I think those who participated in this brutality should be jailed. Because why would you just feel you can get away with manhandling a journalist covering a protest and you think it's just like that? You see, I think it should not just stop at that, because it's just about, it's okay, fine, it's the bank that's taking the liability on behalf of its irresponsible personnel, and the policemen who could not carry out their duties with a high sense of responsibility. It is very unfortunate, I think, and there are other cases, there are other such cases pending which should be dealt with by the judiciary, which should be given expedited hearing. From 2009 till now is a long time coming. I think this is not just fair. This is not right. All this time to determine, were they trying to determine whether the guy was beaten or not? Were they, why? Because the prosecutors definitely will be policemen. So maybe trying to help their colleagues to dance around. Of course, there was a matter like this I handled many years ago in the 90s. I mean, a motorist, his vehicle, the vehicle of a bank, now the bank is defunct now. their bullion van, ran into his vehicle somewhere in Lagos. And they sped off. The man pursued them to the branch where they were heading to. When they got there, they seized this car and manhandled him. But I followed up the case. Do you know somebody, one lady then who was a PR person, was just jumping all over the place? I gave it to her. We had, as a reporter, but she was just, I gave it to her. I said, listen, I'm a journalist, even though I'm a young journalist, but you cannot, your banker and your banker will not get away with this thing. So you just find out that people, this thing about Nigerians, once a Nigerian puts on a uniform, even if he's a security man.
Emeka is I'm even bothered about even civilians, how they abuse police. Look at, we just heard about the case of Burna Boy. Yeah,
I understand he has fled to Spain. And abandoned the policemen.
Those policemen fired at a man.
He was making,
advances at the man's wife. At the man's wife. And you still ended up firing the man. I mean, how do we describe this?
What is it about this uniform? What is it about uniform?
You were making a pass at the man's wife. I guess the man protested. The next thing is police just got fired at the man.
And started breaking people's phones. People were recording the scene. I think the police, there's something about the attitude of the police that needs to be dealt with.
Okay, joining us from Abuja for more insight into this matter is the journalist himself, who is now the publisher of Fresh News Online, Desmond Utomwen. Thank you for joining us.
That needs to be dealt with.
I was saying, Desmond is the journalist himself, who is now.
Desmond, are you there?
Maybe not.
Okay, once he got justice, and it's not everybody. Some people don't understand the instrumentality of the law, as in how to use your law to get
some
justice.
Don't bother, they just leave everything
to everything to God. God will not come and solve this thing. We know our judicial system is slow, but if you go to court, you can see there's still.
You can't leave everything to God. You can't leave. Sometimes you have to seek justice and see where it all ends. Sometimes we have to test our laws. You can't be leaving everything to God. That's why all these people continue to do the things that they do, because somehow they are convinced that, look, the victim will not seek justice. Many times, rape victims, they don't report that they are raped, they've been raped. So many things happen that allow unscrupulous elements to get away with inflicting injury on innocent people.
Impunity.
Well, at least Desmond did what is right.
And when we're trying to just still connect with him, and Emeka, the judiciary will always become the last hope.
Yeah,
the common man.
The common man. Yeah, that's why judges must continue to be above board. And they should continue to be on the side of the oppressed, on the side of the people. That's why I will repeat it again, that I'm not happy with the time it took to get this matter decided. But be that as it may, justice has been said. And I hope that this will encourage other journalists who have been, similarly brutalized by security agencies and other Nigerians too, to take up the fight. At least let it be on record that you sought justice. And the police, the security agencies must do something about the conduct of their personnel. You cannot allow people who have such unruly behavior, allow them to continue to inflict pains on Nigerians. It has to stop. Something has to be done about it. Otherwise, what you do is that, what we end up with is that people won't have confidence in the system and they'll take the laws into their hands. That's why you see jungle justice still prevails in Nigeria, because people believe, no, why would I go to court? It will waste my time. Let me take the laws into my hands. It shouldn't be like that.
Do we have this one now? Okay, we don't have him yet. And we've seen cases that we've seen those ones that are still pending. A lot of the man we're talking about, that killed that little baby in Kano.
Okay.
Do you remember him?
Matter is still there.
No, the people promised us that they will hasten the matter.
Okay.
And the governor has said that as soon as justice is served, if he's required to sign the guy's death warrant, he will not hesitate.
And
but I know it will, even that one to go all the way to the final court.
And Utomwen has not gone to court at all.
Utomwen was taken before the court. It is his military collaborators that have not been made to face the law. They actually took Utomwen to court.
Okay, the police took
the police also took their own men who are accused of collaborating with him to court. But it's the army that felt too big.
The captain.
They felt too big
to release
their own men for trial. And it's such a massive shame. It's such a massive shame. It will continue to haunt them. The military leadership that frustrated the attempt to get justice in that matter, it will haunt them until they go into their graves.
Yes.
The people concerned, the officers concerned, if indeed they were guilty, but were not allowed to prove their innocence, if they were indeed guilty, it will haunt them until their last breath. So let them know that there is something called karma, and we all will face our maker one day. So when people misbehave, do all kinds of things that revolt against civilized thinking, they should realize that one day they will meet the deity upstairs.
Because ultimately, some people feel that by the time, because I have access to gun,
nothing will happen. I will waste you and nothing will happen.
Do you understand?
Human being.
You see this thing every day. You see police because of 20 naira, 50 naira, killing drivers. When you travel on the highway, you see these things.
And many
you are the
them
mercy
don't
of
get
these policemen.
Yes,
And
don't get punished. That's it.
It is that there is still that colonial attitude, that aggressive attitude against Nigerians. A policeman sees a Nigerian coming, he believes this is somebody I must conquer. That was a colonial attitude. But between 1930, when the Nigerian police was set up, and now, it's so many years. I think reforms, the police, the attitude of the police ought to have been reformed. By now, policemen should see themselves as, serving the nation, not having to go out to brutalize people, to teach people. And you even find officials of other agencies, traffic agencies, name them, tax forces, name them.
They too are now like that.
Even those not in uniform, as long as they are members of one outfit, they just feel this kind, they have this attitude that they are emperors to oppress the people. This must stop. This must stop. We shouldn't do these things to our people, because you may think you have the power today. Your own relation might face the same brutality elsewhere. So people should put on their thinking caps so that we have a law, a society guided by law and order.